man. Oh well. Looks like some kind of live plasma event occurring. And then if we go up to here, there's some cloaked object thing going on here, all across there. It's being exposed. That's why clouds give it all away. It's better that they're there than not there. You can see the edges of it all, and it's moving in that direction. Oh, that was a terrible arrow. You get my meaning. We're seeing it from underneath. I reckon that this is that mirage. This is akin to that mirage right now. It's no mirage, mate. It's some kind of holographic cloaking technology. Whatever this is, it's massive. It's moving. And this huge thing here. Now, I'm not sure how real that is, but there definitely seems to be something in front, you know, this whole area. And it's almost like there's something cloaked here, in this region. What could this be? There's obviously something here as well, like this. These little bits. You know, the thing is, I used to draw stuff like this, just doodles and sketches, all the time in my sketchbooks. And then, over a decade later, I find I am literally tracing these things on a live video. Shapes feel familiar. I've been drawing this stuff all my life. I can get some of the pages to prove it. And it's quite amazing, really. It kind of gives you a sense of perspective there. And while this cloud's passing over this kind of horizon, this little bit here is moving down that way. But it's still the same building, look. It's still the same building, it hasn't really moved too much. The clouds are just masking it. They may not even be real. Look, here's another one. Another bright white. Crazy. So now we have two of them. We have two huge plasma arcs. This may be the plasma event we've been waiting for. Who knows? It's now we have two. Oh, there's a second one. Oh, there's a second one. Two of them now. So obviously these are not the things that, or are they? I mean, are they just simulations? Are they real? No, there's two giant white stripes in the sky. That's incredible. And then you can, I mean, this is going to be balmy to a lot of people, but if you look carefully, you can see this kind of almost transparent, these transparent shapes around here. Now, they're not definitive what I'm drawing, they're just kind of very vague outlines of what is there, what could be there of this shadow. If you notice, they're way too straight, they're suggesting that there's something there. And this is what I want people to understand. You start to see this motif over and over again. You realize that there is something hiding, using some kind of active camouflage, some kind of cloaking technology. That's the best word. Star Trek is, yeah, some people probably won't be into that because of the whole space thing, but I think one of the things that these science fiction programs will often do is drop little hints here and there, you know, predictive programming, truth drops, or stuff like that, just to let us know what they're capable of doing, or what the potential is, or what they'd like you to think they're capable of doing. You know. It may not even be true. All they need to do is get you to think that's what they're capable of doing, and then that's enough. The mind can do the rest. They rely on our capacity to read too much into stuff. Yeah, and those people like myself who tend to do that and will analyze the fuck out of something. We get caught up in that particular net as well. The nets are endless. Endless distractions, endless things, pulling our attention away from one thing to another. You can never really stay on one thing anyway, even if you were more centered and chilled out. It's like, you know, this is the issue. It's hard to remain focused on one thing. I mean, I find it difficult just to sit here with the screen on all the time, so I'm always multitasking. So yes, there are probably things that I've even missed as a result of that multitasking kind of a thing. But you know, if you don't mind me saying, this stuff is pretty freaking unusual. And there you go, just trying out different things. And you'll note how some of them really do fit and maintain shape. That's just uncanny. That's just, do you know what I mean? You can't deny it at this point. Click, click, click. And it looks like, let's see, someone might even go, oh look, it's a chemtrail, it's a chemtrail. You know what? I don't think it is anymore. I think it's an outline. I think it's outlining something. I don't think it's a chemtrail at all. Look at these shapes. Look at these glyph-like shapes. You can't... It's like, this isn't something you just expect random particles in vapor to suddenly start doing, you know? There needs to be something generating that kind of frequency, or a shape, or something there that can have that impact on that kind of thing. Otherwise it doesn't make sense. And that's the thing, it doesn't make sense half the time. It just doesn't make sense. Because you're trying to make sense out of something that's designed to completely throw us off anyway. The whole meteorological concept, the ideas, the terminology, definitions of different clouds and their names and their meaning, that's all bullshit. It's all meaningless. It doesn't mean anything. So we can't really start to make sense of this stuff without really having to throw out everything we knew before and start again. Start again and start coming together, because one thing I've noticed amidst the Skywatch community is that actually quite a few of us who are keeping an eye on this every day, we are nurturing almost a relationship of some kind with whatever it is that is in contact with us, whoever's trying to communicate through this stuff. There is an element of nurturing, and it feels like we're being given a chance. I know that probably sounds really weird. It doesn't make much sense, does it? What is one of these huge beams of white light? They're not necessarily clouds, they don't make much sense. You're looking at up, but plasma event. That's the best thing I can think of. Some kind of strange plasma event. If we want to go as far as that. I'm not no scientist or mathematician. I don't know all idiosyncrasies of all of this stuff. I have a broader understanding. I don't get caught up in the details too much, even though I know some